this game.
Yeah, looking forward to getting the SEC started off with a bang. Not necessarily fired up about having to play on the road against one of the top teams in the league to start, but it's what we're doing. So ready to roll.
Paul, go ahead.
Hey, well, let's start. Can you kind of talk about maybe the difference in this Kentucky team from the one that you guys got a win over a year ago and played pretty well there in Barnhill Arena?
Yeah, different time of the year. That was later in the year, later into the conference schedule. It was at our place. Two major differences there, and then just the addition of Dre'Una Edwards around the basket, offensively, defensively, rebounding, all the things that she brings them. It brings, now you've got to deal with a potent attack on the perimeter from Chastity Patterson and Ryan Howard, and now you've got players around the basket experience, and they can beat you a lot of different ways this year, I think. She is 4 or 5 players always cause concern for us, and she's one of the better ones in our league. So I think that makes them different than, they've got quality depth with their transfers, getting everybody eligible with the transfer waiver, getting Massengale in that lineup, getting Robin Benton in that lineup, 2 players who are SEC tested at Tennessee and at Auburn. And then a year of maturity from Blair Green and the other players that they've been playing with. Kiki McKinney's always given us fits. So they're different. Obviously, you got a new coach, although she's been there. She's put her own stamp on some things. So you throw out that, usually when you start to get in league play, there's a little bit of knowledge of your opponent from what they've done. We don't have very much evidence to go on, just a few games of what it's going to look like from, Kyra now standing up, calling the actions and leading the team. So we don't have as much history to benefit from. And that makes your preparation a challenge.
Seth, go ahead.
Mike, when you look back at the non-conference schedule, you put together a really tough schedule. I mean, you even told us that before the season. When you look back at all that you accomplished, did you accomplish what you thought you could at the beginning of the year?
Yeah, and more so too. I think, if you'd have said we were going to have 9 wins and pick 2 they were against and things like that, we obviously take what happened, what came out. The style of plays that we've had to play against, the challenges of playing back-to-back, the challenges of playing 5 and 4, our 4 games in 5 days, the travel challenges, going the day of the game to SMU, going the day of the game to Arkansas Little Rock. I do feel prepared in all those areas. I think that non-conference did exactly what we hoped it would do, have us ready for these next 16 games. I look back and we learned there's things I wish if we had another pandemic anytime in my coaching career, I got a little pandemic file sitting over there on some things that we've learned that we might do differently. I don't know that it's going to have, hopefully it won't have any bearing whatsoever on the rest of the year, but long answer to your question. Yeah, I think our non-conference probably did about all we could have hoped for.
Russell, go ahead.
Does a TV audience matter for you guys now that the bowl game's not going on at the same time? You guys will kind of be the focus of the night, maybe for Arkansas fans.
As long as we win, but yeah, no, it'll be nice. I mean, our kids, when they saw it, it didn't necessarily affect them any at all, I don't think, but because I know their families would have been watching us. But yeah, I think it's nice to know that that's there. I saw some social media posts saying that, that's a silver lining. We can turn the attention there. 8:30 tips are always hard on the traveling team. It's just out of your normal routine. We tried to do some things. We are traveling the day of the game again. This will be the first time we've done that in a conference game. So some unique challenges there, but hopefully that weather cooperates and we're able to get up there as stress-free as possible and focus. But yeah, that's a good point you bring up. I do think I think we'll benefit from it, especially if we can find a way to win at Kentucky. That'd be fun. A lot of people watching.
Tyler, go ahead.
Yeah, just how did the team handle the holiday break, and do you anticipate any issues with 10 days in between games?
Yeah, there's going to be timing issues and execution issues. All you have to do is watch these games of people that are playing that first time out. I watched an NBA game the other night that had 6 straight turnovers. Y'all probably saw the clip of them dribbling off each other's foot, throwing it away. Everybody's timing is off. Everybody's conditioning is a little bit slipped. So we tried to eliminate those things. We tried to come back and get in really good shape and spend a lot of time executing. So, but I will tell you this, we wouldn't have traded how we did the break. Every player, I think, got to do exactly what they needed to do for their particular case. Kids that really needed to see parents and see family went home. Kids that families were able to come here, came here. Kids that didn't have, holiday things that are normal, they stayed. So I feel good that every player had the opportunity to do what they needed to do individually. We didn't impose a team rule or a team standard. Do what you need to do to come back healthy, happy, and safe. And knock on wood, we've had 2 of our PCR tests and we're good to go. I'm getting ready to go take the 3rd one now. So hopefully we can avoid some of the things that are obviously happening around the country and happening in our league with pauses, cancellations, postponements, complete shutdowns, all of that stuff. But our kids came back in a really good spirit. We had our absolute best practice of the year yesterday. So very, very happy.
Paul, go ahead. Paul, go ahead.
Sorry. Hey,
You're good.
well, can you talk about that a little bit, Mike? About an SMU shutting down a team you played. You've got some cancellations to start the SEC schedule here already. Has there been some discussion among your team about those things?
I think we all use it. We know that every program's different, unique set of circumstance. We're not trying to, put ourselves in their shoes because we can't or speculate. But I do think it drives our kids to be very, very focused on doing what we can control. We made a list of things we can control and things we can't. We physically, we're not a big project type basketball team. We don't do all these, but that one we did it. Write down things we can control and let's control those things. So I think it helps them draw back to that area and say, let's keep doing what we're doing. There is a huge amount of luck that goes into it as well. Some of these programs have just been hit by bad luck. I know they're trying to do the right things, but I know that our kids are starting to see the benefit of not going in the locker room at halftime, of not having shoot around, of not having film session where we're side by side, of not going in the locker room at halftime, pregame, postgame, not all those things. They've adjusted to that. And I think when they see these other programs that they may not see doing that on TV, they say, that's why we're doing this. So I do think it kind of validates the things that they are sacrificing, the things that they are giving up. We didn't have a Christmas party. Some people did. Some people had a Christmas party, and those programs are missing their first 3 games. We didn't. We had it out here on the gym floor. We shot half court shots, and whoever made it first got to go pick a prize, a bad Santa prize over there that I don't want anybody. I'm glad there was no video of that, so we would all get to see what presents we got that we were regifting into part of this. So I'm glad y'all weren't here to see that. But we have sacrificed an awful lot, and I think our kids get to see some reward from that. Not that we are looking at other programs saying, oh, they've had bad luck. I think it just further benefits our kids in making them stay aware of what they can control.
Seth, go ahead.
Mike, going back to the traveling stuff, what did it normally look like for y'all to travel versus what it looks like now?
We would have left. We would have probably practiced here today, got some food, leisurely made our way to the airport, short flight to Lexington, check in the hotel. Kids would have gotten them a really good meal from one of those great steakhouses there in Lexington, probably Malone's or one of those places up like that. I'd have gone find a place to watch games and throw darts. We'd sit around the hotel for all day tomorrow. Got up, had a shoot around in the morning, got back, sat around till 7 o'clock at night, filling the time with film sessions or walkthroughs or pregame meals, literally killing time until game time, then go play the game. That's a long day when you have an 8:30 tip. So instead, we'll practice here today, sleep in our own beds, get up tomorrow, get a little bit of food, head that way around 3:30 in the afternoon. Hopefully we don't have any weather concerns. We land, we go straight to the gym, we stretch out, we play, we get back on the bus, get to the airport and home shortly after the 2021 rings in, we hope. I wouldn't tell you that I think one way is necessarily better than the other. We may have learned some things this year that we're maybe not needing all those things. But it's different for our kids. You know, the preparation is a little different. I don't know at the end of this whether if we went back and did a survey who likes it better the other way, but it's a major difference in how your 2 days are spent in leading up to a game. Feels like a business trip, you know. You get on it, you get up there, you get back.
All right. Are there any other questions specifically related to Kentucky? All right, we'll go ahead and shift gears. Coach, you want to talk a little bit about Missouri on?
Of the teams in the non-conference, they scare me the most of anybody in our league. You know, we were able to beat them twice last year, I think for the first time in a very, 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 very long time. And then you watch them now, they've only played 5 games. They will be rested. They don't have the 10-game dings and bangs and nicks and bruises that we have. And they're really balanced this year. I think they've got, kind of like I was talking about with Kentucky, they can beat you inside, they can beat you outside, and all those great freshmen they had last year. They had 2 freshmen on the all-freshman team. Those kids are now sophomores. You get a transfer from South Carolina. And it seems like from what I've seen, they all have identified their roles very quickly, and you just don't have much to watch. You hadn't had a chance to see them that much. So that makes them a little bit scary for me. I think their game is on for this week, for tomorrow night. I can't remember if they're one that got caught up, but I think they have a game. So that at least give us, a little bit more to go on, but a team that's really, really scares me when you watch them on film.
Russell, go ahead.
What are they going to try to do to you offensively and defensively? And what do you have to do well to prevent that and give yourself a chance?
Well, traditionally they've used Asia Blackwell. We try to guard her with a guard, and they'd like to really post her up a lot. They spend a lot of time isolating our guards in post-up situations. And then they really make us work defensively. They want it to be more of a 70 possession game than a 90 possession game. So they do that with how they defend, and then also how they play offense. They're probably not going to take an open shot with 26 or 27 seconds on the shot clock. They're going to maybe take it with 7 or 8. So I think they'll try to control the pace with their offense as well as their defense. And then traditionally they've tried to post our guards up an awful lot because they have a size advantage with that.
Sam, go ahead.
This Sam.
Hey, Sam.
Hey, Mike. This year when we've been doing games on television, it's unlike any other year. In the past, you've got an arena. When a player makes a big shot, you lay out, you let the crowd speak for the moment, and then you get something in. This year, we're finding we have a lot of dead air. So it's given us a chance to do a little bit more storytelling and I guess program enhancing storytelling. Is there any particular player that did anything interesting since all this craziness started, or anything that an audience would find unique about any number of your players?
Good question. And I'll put some thinking into it. I may not give you a great answer right now, but if I think of something in the meantime, I'll get Mario back with you.
Great.
I do think the thing that when you start to talk about that, the thing that jumped out at me was, on top of all of the things that COVID threw at us issue-wise, we were returning 90% of our scoring, or 80%, whatever the number is, a lot of it. A lot of starters, a lot of returners. You bring Jalen Mason back, who didn't play last year, and you bring Destiny Slocum in. And I read message boards. I'm not one of those coaches that says they don't read. I read them. Everybody around here was talking about, are we going to have enough basketballs to go around? Hey, how are you going to deal with having the Slocum coming in and Mason coming back? And I had our fans, I had everybody predicting our starting lineup from literally March all the way on. And I thought it was awesome how our group handled all that. It was always, it's going to be really, hey, it is going to be a challenge. We got a bunch of quality players. How's this going to work out? And a lot of times when you see that, what you see is manipulation and pulling against each other and hoping this kid doesn't do well, so you get better, so you move up. None of that happened. Not one of those things happened. Even with all the other things going on and all the other distractions, this group was able to find a way to manage all that. And I'm not going to take zero credit as a coach, and I'm not going to give anybody zero credit other than the players. They figured it out in the weight room. Maybe Dave Richardson, our strength coach, gets a lot of credit for the environment he created, because it was about working together, and it was all going to work itself out when we started practice. And it has. It's developed to where this is the best rotation. I'll start with Jalen Mason, a kid who had started every single game in her career prior to the start of this year. Now she's coming off the bench, and she plays 4 positions, and she still plays about the same number of minutes she would have if she were a starter, but she fills a valuable role. You bring Slocum in, and a player who's been in 3 Sweet 16s and led her team in scoring in all 3 of those, and she comes in and immediately breaks a weight room record for bench press, like day one, and gets her teammates respect from day one on how hard she was going to work. And it was never about how many shots am I going to get, how many this, how many that, what do I need to do to help the team win, where am I going to most be needed? And then that just flowed everybody else into their roles. Marquisha taking advantage of having been a freshman last year, learned from everybody, and now blossom into the role that she's had. So it's been a collective deal. It's been every single person, even down to our kids that haven't played, Grace Spangler, who hadn't played a minute yet because of an injury, what she's done on our white squad team. Everybody has just fallen into their roles faster and better than ever, with the least amount of coach direction that I've ever seen in 21 years of college coaching. And that to me is a credit to that group of kids, because with all the other stuff on their mind, that's what they chose to focus on. And to me, that's something this generation of kids doesn't get enough credit for. We bash them all the time about being entitled, and they don't get enough credit. And I'm going to shine it right on them, because they did it. We as adults are not used to having to be dealing with all these things. They were, and they handled it better than most of the adults I know. So
Tyler,
I don't know
go
if
ahead.
that's what you were looking for, but that's what I got.
That's good.
Tyler, go ahead.
I'm all set.
All right, Paul, go ahead.
Hey, I was going to go one thing. What's Chelsea's situation? And I know you said you limited Ramirez's minutes there at the last one. Are they both okay? Good to go?
They're going to play, as will Slocum. Slocum's been day to day with some stuff during the break. All 3 of those kids have been limited in practice. They'll all be on the plane headed with us. We'll just have to see how it goes at game time. None of it's COVID related. It's all just 10 game in related. We got some bruises, we got some dings, we got some bangs. We pushed them pretty hard, and we got a few things but they're all going to be on the plane, and they will, I'll tell you, none of them will be 100%, but they'll give us 100%.
Okay.
Seth, go ahead.
Mike, just curious, when you are scouting Missouri, you mentioned a little bit of the troubles that come with them only having 5 games. How different is that for y'all?
10 years ago, it wouldn't have felt any different, because that's what you got. But now when you're used to having every single game and every single clip and every single angle and slow-mo and announcers calling over it, you get spoiled. You get lazy. So the challenge to not get lazy and try to uncover as much of that as you can. You have to be a little bit more predictive than analytical. And we've gotten spoiled with analytics. You know, you can look at analytics and it tells you a lot of the picture immediately. Not everything, but shows you some things. With only 5 games or 6 if they play, means they've got something left. They haven't gotten everything in 6 games in. There's more to come. They could be holding something back. You know, we could come in and prepare for 3 days and then not run one thing that we think they're going to run. You always hate that as a coach because your kids look at you like, well, great scout, you know. You just don't like those. You like to know as much as you can, but again, it's all relative. We used to do way more scouting with way less resource. So it's really a first world problem that I'm not going to complain too much about, but it is different. It is different because you have to speculate a little bit more than you would. And that always causes you a little bit of anxiety because you want to be right for your kids. But it doesn't always work out that way.
All right. Any other questions for Coach? All right, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow night.
Happy
Sam,
New
if you
Year,
wanna hang
everybody.
around.
Probably won't see you until